Friends, welcome to C2C News. And today we have Dr. Manish from Australia, the NRI category, which we have created exclusively. And I believe, my team believes that we are the first one in this industry to create such a category. NRIs are important to us, and there is a lot of exchange which needs to start from now on. My first question to Dr. Manish is, between 2014 and 2019, a lot of water has flowed. The passions were high then, and the passions are high now, even with regard to the election. So, what are the priorities, according to you, that have changed?
Good day, friends, and congratulations to C2C on this exciting new journey, to all the media friends out there. Now, with regards to the question specifically, thanks for raising that. It's this time of the year when everybody in the NRI community is eagerly looking forward to doing their bit for Bharat and connecting back to the roots there. With regards to the election currently in comparison to 2014, the biggest change I would believe in 2014, there was a huge wave towards anti-corruption, towards doing the right thing for India. The wave now is we want to take what has happened in India in the past 5 years to the next notch. So the interest or the mood of the NRI community has moved on from saving India to moving towards a direction where we are world leaders, where we are setting tone and rhythms for the world to follow. So the NRI community at large across the globe, and more specifically in Australia, is extremely pleased and passionate at the work which has been done over the 5 years in Bharat. And the amount of outreach which has happened from India to the NRI community as well has increased tenfold over the years. The respect which has been shown by the local governments here towards India and vice versa, the engagement at a social level has increased significantly, which is why NRIs are extremely passionate at this stage to contribute and give back to the society in general in India. So keeping this as a backdrop, the passion with which the NRIs are engaging to drive in voters to go and vote, to engage people and see that they have got their voter registrations done, for example, is humongous. There are callathons happening across the globe, trying to connect back to people there, making sure that they are going and registering themselves to vote, going and voting on the day of the vote, and encouraging others to vote as well. Now, this is something which is phenomenal and has never happened in the past across any of the elections, and that has really taken a huge momentum across the globe now in all NRI communities. So that is, I guess, perhaps the biggest change from moving to a place where you were a proud Indian but trying to safeguard the country from the anti-corruption, the corrupt people, to moving on to a generation of new Indians where you want to become the leaders and where people are looking up to India now.
Now, the second and the most important question of today's episode is, 5 years, a lot is done in terms of the way Indians are treated by the rest of the world community. The next 5 years, God willing, and the way things are being seen at the grassroots level, Narendra Modi is going to be back as PM once again. So, how do you, as a part of the NRI community, see the next 5 years? What are the priorities the government would have, and what are the pending things the NRIs may have, recommended, and they are still in the discussion stage or approval stage, and how the world community is going to treat Indians, because it will be a serious affair going forward now. Over to you.
That's a very good question and a valid question for the next 5 years. I mean, we are looking forward to Sri Narendra Modi ji coming back with a humongous majority again, simply because we are progressing towards a stage where, again, like I mentioned, the world community is looking up to India as one player, from moving from that position where there's another country in Asia to a position where we are going to be the world leaders, opinion makers. There are countries across from the Asian to the European subcontinents where people are keen and passionate to join hands with India and move forward alongside India. We can see statesmen like recently President Putin coming up with special awards for our Prime Minister. So things have moved on to a direction where people have taken India to an extent where India now dictates terms. India is trying to create that particular awareness where our culture also is taken seriously. So we've got the yoga day already in place. There is Ayurveda, which is in the wings, and so on. Now, keeping all this in mind, the next 5 years, we have moved on. We have done a lot. When I say we, it is not just Modi ji there and people in India, but also the NRI community. We have achieved a lot in these 5 years, but there is so much more to be done, which is why it is extremely important Modi ji comes with a thumping majority again. In the next 5 years, I believe the important parts which we have already engaged in, and apart from moving forward in that, is also setting tones for things which India would want from the community at large in the global perspective. Our culture has to move on to a notch where it is treated more apart from just curiosity to spirit and spirituality to things beyond science. So if we have moved on to the space age, we also need to understand, if our Vedic mathematics is contributing to the space age, why are we not researching into this area? So that's the area, I guess, where we have to move on from not just safeguarding our culture, our ethos, but also to progressing it to such an extent where the world believes this is where we are supposed to head as a community. Now, Modi ji was instrumental in putting together a solar alliance, for example, where the world community looks at the solar power and thinks about India as an example. Modi ji has been instrumental in engaging with the African continent there. The world recognizes that. China is trying to take lead, things like that. So we have to move to a situation where we can actually now create a platform where people are engaging with our historic culture, our Sanatan Dharma, and our overall perspective as what the culture of or ethos of India has to offer to the world. So I believe personally, from my single personal point of view, and speaking loud as well for the NRI community, the stage has been set. There is so much to be done, but we cannot stop there. We have to create that buzz feeling in the world where if anything needs to happen, it is happening from India. And anything which India says is the buzzword. It has to be taken and lapped up. There are not many cultures through the history where people have survived all these years. People are able to now recognize the science behind our culture, the foundation of what our culture is based on, the help in the medical field which can be taken from this, and so on. So I think that is another part which we have to really lap on to. So apart from yoga day, there are so many other days which have to be ignited across the globe. So in simple, if I were to answer that question, I would say things which we have not invested in already in our culture have to be brought out to the world scenario and taken to the next level.
For now, we'll stop over here. But friends, there's a lot that we need to hear from NRI friends. They have a lot to communicate with us. This particular forum, NRI on C2C, will remain a bridge, a catalyst to connect both ends, people at both ends. And I'm sure both sides will benefit a lot. Thank you so much, Dr. Manish, for your time over here. We'll keep coming back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, C2C, and all the viewers.